This is vibe coding.
Yes.
So I'm making sure this is on. So basically, I'm gonna do ChatGPT. Let me see if I have Visual Studio. I might install this. I can show you on Cursor though. These are just, so Visual Studio and Cursor are called IDEs. Interface display. Basically where you code and it compiles the code. What does IDE? I feel like I should know that in coding. Integrated development environment.
Okay.
So basically it allows you to write, run, and test code all in one place. So code, if you think about programming as like 3 different levels, machines operate on ones and zeros, so it's all binary. And then you have a programming language on top of that. So you have a way to take words and then convert it into ones and zeros, and that's usually like a lower level programming language. Then you usually have a programming language on top of that, which tends to be Python, C#. That's the stuff that we actually get to see. It's more human language. And so that one is, wow, my watch thought I was walking through my arm. I said congratulations at reaching 10,000 steps. And so a lot of times what you see is like the top level programming language. And I was going, oh yeah, so these programming environments, so these IDEs allows you to take the written code language, compile it into ones and zeros to allow the machine to operate it. So it's like you can't just like write code onto a Word file because nothing will happen. So it basically makes it into programmable code. So he is a naughty boy. He's been on really good behavior with you guys here, but he is not a good boy. He's a 4-month-old little rascal.
Well, no, it's just that for him it's not good.
Yeah. He will stick his mouth in just about anything. So real programming would be like, let's say I'm going to pseudocode this in just a programming language. So let's say I import utils, and then that basically brings in a package, and then I would do, let's say, class of a string animals or something like that. And then so I'm like hard coding so that it's giving me suggestions. That's partly AI being like, oh, this is what should be expected. And then you give it, so this would be considered programming. So I'm like creating it by scratch. I'm just writing it out. I'm writing the class. So it's considered a class. I'm writing what an object is defined as. I'm going through. It's very jargon heavy. And that's just the stuff that I'm saying that I don't know if it's good for people to understand the structure of it, but I don't know if people should know like to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Where vibe coding would be like program for me an app that keeps track of my dates this month. Something like that. I was going to say my period, but... Steve! I swear, he has ripped out curtains. He's ripped out curtains. He's knocked over furniture. He has broken glasses. Anything to get his hands on.
He's eating the crumbs. Is that all right?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Okay.
This kid will... It'll be okay. If he gets sick, it'll be good for him to learn a lesson. I'm not too worried.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's such a little...
So basically vibe coding is just giving prompts.
Yeah, and then it's thinking. So what it's doing right now is basically this. Yeah, so it's doing this. So this programming itself, almost like language, has a big pattern to it. It's kind of like a big picture formation to it. So what it does is sort of scaffolds out. It does the big picture stuff, and then it writes in the code based on what I need it to do. And then I just did a YouTube course. So this is saying unzip it. So basically it'll give me the file. Here we go. So this is the download, and then the file should open right there. And then I'll go into here. Let's just see what it looks like. I'm kind of excited. We're going to extract it.
A quick question about that.
Yes.
About ChatGPT. So I haven't used ChatGPT in a while. So my expectation is that Claude would have just made that and opened that up, whereas ChatGPT gave you a zipped file.
Sometimes it gives you a preview.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know how it decides when to give you a preview and when it doesn't. I think what it does, I know Claude, because I use Claude quite often and ChatGPT quite often for this. And sorry guys.
It's lips too.
I know he's a eager puppy. I think it gave me a zip file, I think, because there's 4 different files in here.
If I were using Claude,
Yeah.
that fell on the floor.
Yes.
Would I just go into code and vibe coding?
You can do it a few different ways. I actually ended my Claude subscription, so I'm just going to see if it will even allow me to talk to it. Yeah, so because of Claude's lobotomy, I canceled my Claude subscription because I'm trying to... But usually what it does is Claude Code, it does allow you to go into this sort of code feature. And what Claude and ChatGPT both do this, is that they have their own IDE on their server, and that allows them to compile the code. Steven. Yeah. He knows when I use his full name. Buddy, none of that. All right, I'm going to put you in this room for a little bit. So they have their own internal system that will generate the code and display it. Now, Claude and ChatGPT will keep the artifact for about 30 days, and then it's erased. So if you have an idea and you really, really like it, they usually do a JSX file. So it's a JavaScript file XML. And I'm probably going too technical with this. And that's what they're able to use, where they have just one file and they host that one file. Where what ChatGPT just gave me was 4 files, which is actually technically better, but it's harder for people who aren't technical to know what to do with it. So it gave me, this is what ChatGPT, 4 files. It gives you a README file. Whenever you get code, the README kind of gives you instructions on it. So let's say, and it just tells you instructions on how to use it. But this is vibe coding. So for me, like it looks fine, it works, but there's always something that's going to be off. Like, see how the number is not in the top left-hand corner? That's like, it's a small detail, but that tells you something. But still, it's kind of cool. Add plan, date, night, and then you can put in the time, category. Let's see. And it will save, and then it'll help you keep track of it. So you can it's already a pretty functional, somewhat app. But the thing with this is that, let's say you wanted to make this into something that you sell. Now you have to deal with people signing, like, how do you attribute that this date belongs to me as the individual? How do you attribute that it belongs to someone else, or who else? And so that's the thing where I think you get software engineers or people who understand the big picture kind of come into that. How are you going to assign this date to one individual? And then on top of that, where is this stored? So right now it's stored on something called local storage. But that means that if I pull it up on my phone, it's not saved there. Like, you have to store it in a database. You have to store the information somewhere. Because right now this information isn't being stored anywhere. Let's see, I'm just going to check if it's even in local storage.
So if someone is downloading the app on their phone, the information is not going to be stored in their phone.
So it does persist. So that means in local storage. It's basically stored in whichever device you put the plan in. So
the plan of the app.
So right now for this one, plan is only stored on my machine, but it won't be on my phone. It won't be, because where's the data being stored? You have to take the data and persist. You have to put it into, like, a Google Sheet even would work for something like this. You have to put it somewhere that the app can then, what you want to create an environment for the app to live in, and then it will grab the information from the database to display it to the individual. So in order to do that, that's where the API call comes in. It calls the database, presents the information. So basically when you vibe code an app, what you really need it to do is identify the user. So that's the first thing it needs to do. And then it uses that user information to then query to ask the database, hey, I have this user's information. Give me the data on that user. So you have 2 different calls that need to happen in order for a Vibe app to actually live, and be functional. So those are like the 2 big things a lot of people don't know how to do. And they don't know how to get them to even talk to each other. Or what's the best database? What's the best authenticator? And that's where knowing how the systems work becomes really important. Yeah. And so that's where a lot of people vibe code a cool app and they can't execute it because they're missing those 2 fundamental pieces. And that's the difference.
It only exists in their computer.
Yeah, and that's it. And they don't know how to persist it beyond that. And then there's a lot of things you can do with Cursor. So I did like a little YouTube course, and the big thing I did was basically teach people how to take ChatGPT code and how to make it actually live online and how to make it an actual website. Because right now this is only on my computer. There's no URL. You can't go to datepicker.com and find this. So Steven. You silly boy. So how do you like get it to exist outside of the vibe code? ChatGPT or Claude,
Right.
you know, and that's another big thing, big hurdle.
So
E-
how do you actually do that? Like,
So yeah, there is a system. A lot of AI coding things like Lovable and everything, they will allow you to host. They will help you host the site, but they also make you pay a premium for it. Usually, what I do is I will take the code, I put it into. Me as a software engineer, I take the code and I put it into this IDE, the cursor, and then I make changes to the code here, and then I use GitHub because it's free. Basically, my entire flow is free except for I use the AI and Cursor. Cursor itself is free. Everything is free, and I pay extra for the AI usage.
So is Android Studio also an IDE?
Yes. Yeah.
But you prefer Cursor?
I prefer Cursor. Android Studio, I think, is just for Android phones, like phone apps. And then I like Cursor because I do a lot of web apps. And what I like to do is I usually take a web app. So I took this site. This is what I practiced this morning. So this is my website that I use to help people get their boat exam here in Hong Kong. And then people have been asking me to make an app. Love it.
sorry, I don't want to interrupt that.
No, always.
Okay. We're making an app. We're
Yeah.
building an app. Is that different if it's live on the web or on my phone?
Yeah, so this is one. There's a few ways you can do phone apps. So Android and iPhones are two totally different environments. A lot of people have an iPhone app and an Android app. Usually what I like to do when I make an app is I will make a web app first. So there's some companies that will have a web app, an iPhone app, and an Android app. If you have 100 people in your business and you can dedicate 20 people to each one, it's an expensive resource.
Another question.
Yeah.
Why would I want to have a web app? I can do a website.
Yeah, a web app is a website. Same
Oh.
thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a bit confusing.
Sorry.
I think the difference between I think a website can just be a static HTML site, where a web app is usually you have like front end, back end.
interactive?
So it's a little bit more dynamic, I think.
Okay.
I'm Googling that because I totally could be making that up. Yes. Okay, so web apps are more dynamic. So you have API calls, you have stuff like that.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That's where I was getting confused because I was like, if it's an app, why do I need the web?
Right.
If it's I
So
can
a
just use
blog
web.
would be a website, but if a website has buttons for you to fill in things, that's a web app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think most
So
sites today are web
exactly,
apps. Most
that's what I
sites
was
today.
About to say, like most websites
Basic.
are actually attractive these days.
Yeah, where it used to be just HTML, like MySpace would be an HTML.
Yeah.
Had a lot of HTML.
And just for clarity, then there's obviously the fourth kind, which is an application that runs on your computer.
Yes. Like Excel
Like Claude.
or Claude is a
desktop.
web app.
Yeah.
Or it depends. It depends on if you download a.
If you
Yeah, so you
download
do the
it,
Claude desktop,
Yeah.
the one that you download, that is an application
Yeah.
on your computer. If you then go to in your browser, Claude,
Yeah, no, then
AI,
it's-
there's a web app.
Yeah.
that's a web app.
But just when we were listing them off, it is also different code. If you build a web app, the same code doesn't just run on a computer. In the same way it won't run on Android, in the same way it won't run on
So
Because
so
they're all
if
different
you
systems.
wanted to make something, you'd have to identify if you want to make an app,
Right.
like a web app, a website, or an app software.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're all
Yeah.
three different things.
Yeah.
And it's all because the core environment that the software operates on are different environments. So Android is a different environment, so it reads code differently than iPhone. Your desktop Mac reads code differently than if it's Windows. And then a website. Websites are kind of cool because there was an organization, like I think it was the WWW organization or something like that, or CCC, something. Anyways, it was in the late 1990s, and a group of people were like, we need to standardize the websites. They standardized DOM, they standardized how websites appear, like what code you use for websites, and then said everyone has to use that. And it's I think great because now every site has this structure. Let's see if it
you
loads.
mentioned Flutter
Ah.
earlier on. So Flutter will work it will make a Windows app, an Android app,
Yeah.
and an iPhone app.
Yeah. That's why
To be difficult.
That's why I went with Flutter,
Yeah,
because I wanted to make an app for both iOS and Android.
right.
Yeah, and it works, and it has like if you want to run your code, it has you pick if you want it to preview it on a website or on different phones, which includes iOS and Android.
Flutter is Swift JS, right?
I'm not 100% sure. I just know that we had to do because we needed something that would run on Android and Windows, and we ended up going down Flutter. But my tech lead picked Flutter and then explained Flutter to me.
Yeah.
I did not be like, what shall we do? Which is why I knew when you said Flutter, you're on it. I know that is.
Yeah.
I need to check that out because that's pretty interesting. Because usually when you have something that does all three of them, it has to do. Usually, if you have one thing that does something really well and you have something, it's like really niched in there. And then when you have something that sort of does everything well enough, it's usually like you degrade. There's some degradation somewhere
but
in
the
that.
Flutter doesn't stop. But the Flutter doesn't. I don't think it actually makes Swift codes for iOS. It's just I was advised to use Flutter because it's the easiest to bring into your iMac to make Swift code.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I need to borrow. And I have allergy medication. If you have cat
I've
allergies.
taken some already.
Okay, I recognize the. I'm so sorry.
No, you're all right. You're all right.
Especially Steve getting in the way of everything. So there's different environments for different things, and what I usually like to do is I like to make web apps in particular because that was my specialty. I did desktop apps, PC apps, and web apps, and then I like to do web apps because what I like to do is I like to take the web app as a single code and then I put wrappers on it. So I wrap it like a gift into an iPhone app, or I wrap it into an Android app. And so it's kind of like a little bit, it's not cheating, but it's a little bit kind of cheating. But it means I only have to take one code base. And as an individual, it's just much easier to have one code base. Where if I had a team, I would have a specific.
So where the informations are stored, like where do you keep all this information that you have? Let's say, okay, we're all using the same app.
Yeah.
But the one that you just made before for that calendar. Of course, you're gonna write something. You're gonna write something. I'm gonna write something different. So,
Yeah.
And I have it on my phone. You have it as a desktop app. You're using the web app, and you have on your Android. So, where is all this?
So usually I hook it into a database, and I hook it into Superbase is the database I use.
Okay.
Sometimes, and so I'll show you this, and then I'll show you a Google Sheet to show you how they're similar. They are technically different because databases for it's a SQL database, so it's relational, which means that the tables sort of have the tables are structured so that coding can easily extract the information, where a Google Sheet is just a Google Sheet.
A Google Sheet would have to live on someone's computer.
Has to, yes. So the idea is when you build the site and then you have to host it. So yeah, it has to live on a server somewhere.
Exactly.
And then you have the database has to live on a server and the code has to live on a server. The environment I use is called Vercel because it's free and allows you to host. I have the premium plan, but I always like to suggest things that are free for people in general. And then you can upgrade when you want to. But it basically, they own servers in the world, and then you pay, or you pay for part of the program, and then you have it's a shared server system, but you could think about it as renting real estate to always have a server on at all times. It just needs to be awake. And then your website is forever on because it lives on that server. So basically, the internet is just basically tons of little computers that are just connected to each other, and that's it. So you have to you could run your code on you can run your web app on your computer if it was on 24/7, but you have to maintain it, you have to make sure it's up, you have to do all this load balancing and everything.
And it has to be fast enough to hold
Exactly.
it,
Which is
store it.
and then if you get traffic,
Which is
why you outsource it to Vercel,
Servers
GitHub,
or-
AWS, all these names that you hear about people using. AWS is one of the biggest ones. WordPress is a hosting company, so
websites.
yeah. So
Yeah.
all of those is for hosting.
Canva is on AWS.
Oh, yeah.
And AWS went down.
Oh, and everything
And
went down.
everything on AWS was down.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. So that would be that. It would explain it. Yeah.
But back in the day, because I'm old, in IT departments, and all in small businesses, that didn't have robust IT departments, you sometimes had there would be a computer and it would be on, and it would have a post-it on the side, and it would say,
Don't
not
turn
this
off.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because something
yeah,
ran it,
yeah.
because cloud compute, like,
Yeah, it didn't exist.
didn't exist. Cloud computing didn't exist. Big corporations had networks and things like that, and you could buy networks. But for the thing that Tom built, it just ran in that thing. Don't turn that
Yeah.
off, or Sandra's really cross. Like,
Yeah.
I used to be a little server monkey for the fintech for the ed tech company I worked for, because he always had like backup servers and things like that I would go and mess with, and it was fun. And then at the banks I worked at, because of the exchange, they wanted the server as close to the exchange as possible because of latency issues. So if you're doing algorithmic trading, you have to be as quick as possible. So they had servers right there, and then one floor they didn't like add security in it, which is weird. But you walk into this floor, no idea. And it was just cold air everywhere, and the servers are all humming and all that. So like, and it was right below us. So it was pretty cool.
You push a button, it's over.
Yeah, right. I was like, "Don't fuck with me, Sandra."
I will go down to the 9th floor.
I will turn this shit off. But yeah, so there's a lot of that. So you basically, when I get new clients who aren't technical, sometimes I have to try to explain to them hosting costs. Like, these are not my costs, these are just the cost of keeping your website alive somewhere. And so a lot of these AI sites that will build an app for you, a web app, they'll say, oh, you can keep it live for $20 a month. That's quite expensive. They're making a lot of money off of that.
Yeah, that's why I went off Base 44, because I didn't trust for them to host my app, and I also didn't want to pay them to host my app.
Right,
Yeah.
because Base 44 was the next thing I was thinking of doing. I don't like Lovable so much.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything of the things that I wanted
Yeah.
it to do, because for some reason, so what I wanted was like having a graphic video, so like a video that had it was an abstract video. Okay, so imagine just like a ball bouncing, something like this, but that video had to be connected with music, and the music was. I told the Lovable to source the music from whatever source they wanted. Could be YouTube, could be Spotify, could be anything they needed to, and it's kind of technically is open source, but not. It is not, because the people playing it, it's not free. Okay,
Right.
But it just won't work. It will not work. Like every single time that you try, it's either the video going but it's mute, like you don't hear the music, or it says no, the video is not available, like, and it would just not. It just doesn't work together.
Right.
Yeah.
But Claude Code could do that. It's just ugly.
Yeah.
So like the looking, it's awful. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Not
it works,
good.
But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
see, like, I don't know, because I gave this the exact same description of what I need. Like, I was doing in at the same time, both.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work, and that's why I was thinking to use that one.
You should try it. The thing is Base 44 good? I would say my prototype worked fine. I just wanted to make a good brand. I wanted to make a good app that was sellable, and I
Right.
don't think an app that was vibe code on Base 44 is that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I took out the prototype to now use in Flutter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is, because I also come across often like ChatGPT or Lovable or Claude will create one element that's good but really shit at the other elements, and I find it frustrating. So one thing I like about Cursor IDE is once you get it set up on your computer is you can choose which. So basically the beautiful thing when Cursor came out, which was amazing because it didn't happen nowhere else had it at the time, that was big. It can look at all of your coding files at the same time and read your entire app without having to look at one single one. I know a lot of AI can do that now, but at the time it was like, mecca.
Yeah.
And so this is the date app that I have here. There it is. And so what I can do is I can choose whichever AI model I want to use. It can be Claude, it can be Cursor, it can be anything, and I can say, hey, my app looks like shit. The colors are dank and ugly as fuck. Could you make it, I don't know, sleek and like Spider-Man and cool so all the kids will love it? Very kind of nonsensical, but I gave it an emotion, I gave it a purpose, and it will read all the files and it will help. It can push it toward a sleek Spider-Man look kids will actually like.
Nice. Oh my god.
You're welcome.
I want to see what it'll look like.
Yeah.
Right?
Sleek
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
So you could just be
Yeah.
like, it's sometimes when you don't quite know what you want, and I don't always suggest this, but I'm not a UI. I'm more of a back-end person, not a UI person. And so I've been doing this for long enough now where I did this website recently, and I'm like, no, the padding here is wrong. This is wrong. So this is my online course. And one thing I've realized is that a lot of heroes, you need real, if you're going to use people in your images, make sure they're real people. So I used
Yeah.
Canva, and then I expanded the image using AI. So Canva only had this. I expanded it, and then I'm able to tell it, like, no, do this, do that, create more spacing here, add the checks. So, like, AI doesn't always have that sort of creative flair, so you kind of throw that in there. But what Cursor allows you to do is it allows you to specify exactly what you want fixed, and then it goes in and fixes it. So you could, like, choose Claude to be like, hey, the audio is not working, fix that. And then you can use another AI to be like, hey, it looks ugly as fuck, fix it. And then you get an idea of which AIs are better at what. So some of the AIs are way better at UI, some of them are better at fixing problems. So this is an AI generated image of me that was not of a child.
Yeah, exactly. I was about, that doesn't.
Took me 3 hours to get 10 images that I needed. Whoops.
What are LLMs?
Well, anyway, so that's my course is basically going actually all over about what we're talking about now. This is just more in depth.
Okay. So
and
I
easier.
should watch all the.
What's the AI on the cursor?
I have Grok right now, mainly because it's free. Oh, so this is what AI just did.
Okay.
Indeed.
Okay.
That is
So-
slick.
So I can see, I'm looking at this now. So this is, it used like a CVG format to create spider webs. It didn't do a great job. I mean, you get the idea of what it is.
Yeah.
But so this is, as an engineer, what I would do is I would actually generate, I'd go to ChatGPT because it's, I have the service, so it's free for me to generate. And I'd say, hey, generate a transparent web, like a Spider-Man web for me that I can download. Then I would download that, put it into my file here. So I'd put it into here. And I'd be like, hey, look, I have this file of a
That's the
spider
background,
web.
yeah.
Put it as the background. And then it would generate that as the background, and then it would look 10 times better already.
Your microphone maybe doesn't have so much batteries, right?
Oh, that's all right, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
No, just saying.
thank you.
No, because
I'll let it
it's
run till it
failed me
dies.
So many times.
I just needed a few clips to like clip it
Okay,
and be like, oh,
okay.
get a personal, so if it dies, I'll just leave it
Okay,
as
no,
is.
That's fine. Because
But thank you.
We were rehearsing and like,
It
after
died.
20 minutes of playing together, was like, oh, that's awesome. Let's see how it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's always the worst. I've had that happen, yeah, with some, because I'll try to do recordings of me on the computer, like screen recordings, and then sometimes it just fails. But I have a new laptop now, so hopefully it won't do that again. But look how much better it looks already.
Yeah.
And so that's just like, it wasn't even that much of a human element. It was just a human direction. And then I gave it something very specific. But it's saying something like Spider-Man allowed it. What it did when I said Spider-Man was it took the theme colors of Spider-Man, took the ideas of Spider-Man, and then or if you're like, just make it look better. It comes up with some interesting things, but
Yeah.
it's
Better.
not the same.
Okay.
And then I would be like, hey, dummy, the numbers are not
I'm not that brave writing to AI like that.
top
Just in
left.
case
It's apocalypse
Exactly.
happens.
I
Of
just watched
each.
the Terminator the other night. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what?
And
They're
when
just
it does
kind
the
of
job, thank you so
floating.
much.
Yeah.
And then I like to use DeepSeek as well, and it's like I would write thank you so much, like, oh my god, now totally.
Yeah.
Just let me know if you have
Totally.
anything else.
Do you use it for in Chinese? Like the
Yes,
te-
I use it for translation.
You know, I feel like DeepSeek
That's
is
smart.
still one of the best, but
Oh.
Claude is also pretty good for Chinese translation.
Yeah.
Oh,
I-
that's another thing that I'm using it for because like I don't know how to write Chinese.
Yeah.
So that's it when I need like the translation for the reels or anything that I do
Yeah.
for the music school. That's
The translations on DeepSeek's pretty good. Cause I can,
it's
cause I
pretty
can,
local. Like the
Yeah.
way they
cause I can listen Cantonese. I'm just not literate, so I will literally copy paste what DeepSeek wrote, copy paste it to Google Translate Cantonese, have it speak back to me. I'm like, yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah. DeepSeek and now they have more modes in DeepSeek too. Like they have the basic one, expert,
Yeah.
and another one.
But
that
the
I
basic
forgot.
is pretty good, honestly.
Yeah. It is like for Chinese is actually
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and then I just told it to outline. It's hard to tell the actual days, like the numbers.
No, I can see
Yeah.
that.
So I told it to fix that. We moved the dates up. So this is basically what I tend to do when I program sites, when it's just a website, is I'll use AI to generate the beginning, and then I go in and I fix, and then I scaffold. And this is for simple sites. This is not for like more complicated designs. If this was a more complicated design, I would have approached it differently. But it gives you an idea of the sort of the thought process, you know?
Right.
And
so if
integrating.
someone commissioned for an app like this, would you do it like this?
What I probably would have done is it depends. There's two ways I could go about this. It's like I could do it like this and then scaffold the authentication and the persistence to a database, or I'd go in with usually what I like to do these days with AI is I go in saying, hey, this will need to be scaffolded. This is the scaffold that we're going to use. This is the framework. Now build this, and then I work with the UI later, because I usually like the back end to be solid and then make it look
first
nice.
and then do the UI
Yeah.
later.
What do you mean by scaffolding?
Scaffolding, yeah. So this is like, I know,
Yes, but-
yeah. It's this is not a good example because it's a 4-file site, so it doesn't actually have any scaffolding. I'll show you. Let's see. Let me do a new window. Scaffolding. There's programming languages like JavaScript, Python, all these things, and then there's ways that these programming languages sit inside folders that differentiate a component versus an API versus, it's all Python, but they all function differently. And then you put them into frameworks. So that's what they're called. It's like when you have a building, and a wooden building that's made of olive wood. And so it's all wood building. Wood is the programming, but the structure of the house is the scaffold.
Yeah.
So the scaffolding out would be more like, here is, so basically these folders here. So public is always where the images go, always where things that are public should go. Source is sort of like the components, the app, the context, hooks for communicating with outside. Tests are for test suites. So that's a scaffold out. So scaffold is really important to the site. And I'm using scaffold a bit loosely because scaffold, I'm also using it as like how it connects to the database, how it connects to the whole structure. So it's like the structure of the house, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that you can just tell the AI to do it for you, basically.
Yeah, but the scaffolding it's based on the programming language and it's based on the framework you're going to use. And then it's also based on like what version of framework you want to use. And that's where knowing that kind of stuff as an engineer, that's where those things, but I think as a non-engineer, you can just trust, for most people, you can just trust what the AI is going to scaffold out for you most of the time. Yeah. So most of the time you won't need to know these things unless you're building something heavy.
So what
really
is
big.
So what is vibe coding's weakness when it comes to scaffolding?
It used to be that it would, most of the time, the scaffolding is important because you're separating duties of the programming and what each section is supposed to be doing. And AI used to always put stuff in the front end. So it used to put all the logic, and this is a perfect example here. So let's see, here it is. So almost all the logic is going to be in HTML and JavaScript, which is not how it should be in a website. Most of the logic should be further back, like a stronger, yeah.
Right,
And
yeah.
this is all in the front. All of this is in the front, which is a kind of like, it's getting more accepted as a practice, but it's still not good. And then if you're having like a really heavy site, it's not good at all. So AI loves putting all the stuff in the front. It just loves to like, because it makes something pretty, and then it puts it all in the front, and it's like, look, I did it. And it's like, yeah, kind of. Where with the real software, you want it in the back.
Can you tell the AI to put,
Yes.
like when you, even if you're vibe coding, can you just tell the AI put blah 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 at the back?
Yeah, so you
In the
tell it to
back end
follow MMV, I was going to say MVP structure, but I don't think that's it. React framework for programming. I think it's like a... Oh yeah, okay, so MVVM, which is actually not React, that's another one, but you can tell it to follow a certain type of framework. So model view, that's what we used to use in the bank, and that's a certain type of framework that has the logic in the back. So you can tell it to use specific frameworks, depending...
MVVM.
Yeah, but you don't need to memorize this. This is just an example. What you can tell AI, which will be easier to understand or to remember, is say use the best practices and the framework of this language. Which is You can tell it to do
Why
that.
not write MVVM?
Yeah,
You can,
exactly, because
but-
then it will get stuck into that, right?
Yes, although MVVM is specific to sort of like, it's just depending on how big the software is, you may not want to use MVVM.
Okay.
Whoops, hold on.
And like, because you were saying like if the website is very heavy, like what do you mean by heavy? Like with videos or with what?
Heavy, sometimes heavy, I mean it in the sense of if it needs to access 10,000 database rows for one user, and it has to sort through those database rows in order to get information out and present it to the thing, and it has to do that 1,000 times. There's 1,000 people visiting the site.
Okay, no,
It's a load. Yeah, just like, so it's heavy in terms of these amount of calls it has to perform in the software, and then heavy in terms of usage. And then they expound each other. They just like time, they grow massively. So a lot of times people will have like multiple servers, fallback servers, and that's where the whole design structure gets important. But for most people, 99% of the time, you don't need to worry about that. But if you're building something that you want to take to enterprise, you have to build. Most of the software I build these days has enterprise in mind, just in case I don't have to go back and fix anything. And it means that I've separated out the components, I've scaffolded it out. And if I need to, I can easily add an extra server in. I can easily add in extra components so it can scale rapidly without me having to change the code, because the structure is already there. But for most people, most things that are vibe coded these days, you'll probably get like 100 users where that doesn't need load balancing. I mean,
100 users at the same time, like.
Yeah, so something like that is usually can be handled pretty okay. But once you start getting 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 all in one server, you have to upgrade your server, have to make sure your software is able to do those calls, it's not throttled. There's a whole bunch of stuff you have to think about. And that's usually where someone who isn't a software engineer should hire someone who is a technical person to balance out those issues.
Of course.
But hopefully by that point, you're getting enough money in from your app,
Yeah.
yeah.
To hire a software
Right.
engineer.
And the main goal is when you're vibe coding is to not hand the engineer something so shit that they freak out and leave.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to use AI to like make something that's frameworked out just well enough that it won't fail at the first
Yeah, 'cause,
stress.
like, how do you, like, since you're highly technical in this, like, how do you talk to people like me, for example, that I have no idea of all the technical stuff, but I can come up with to you and say, hey, I had an idea for one app or like a website that is like this, and that.
Yeah. I always like to assess how much technical stuff, two things. How much technical stuff do they already know, and how much do they want to know? Because sometimes people will be like, I don't give a fuck, here's a paycheck.
True.
I don't want to know, and like, just shut up.
Do your thing.
Yeah. And
Makes
some
sense.
people are like, explain everything to me because I'm interested, but explain it to me like I'm a non-technical person, and that's totally fine too. So those are the two things. But what I always like to do is assess what do they want what's their end vision? Like, what is their actual end vision? Because a lot of people will get really excited, start talking to AI, be like, oh, I want this. And then they come to me and I'm like, well, what's the end goal? All you're picturing right now is like, you're in the weeds in a place that you don't know. You're lost in the weeds. So explain to me in the end, and then I can talk to you about how we get to the end goal.
Right,
And then
yeah.
that's where I sit down with them. And I usually like to draw, to write things out and have them keep the thought process. Yeah, because it just helps. Because I think that's another thing that's really missing these days is like someone who knows tech that can actually sit with someone and be like, here's the plan. Here's what we're going to do. Here's things that will probably fail. And there's been a lot of clients where I've been like, they'll be like, we need to get the Shopify site out today because it's just going to be loaded. So many people are going to be like on it. They're going to be buying everything from it. And I'm like, statistically.
Sometimes I do
Yeah,
business
yeah.
consultancy. Yeah.
And I'm just like, statistically, you're going to have 0 visitors on your site for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, but you are not. Your assumption of load is not what you think it's going. You don't want to spend $1,000 US on a server to handle millions of traffic when you don't even have a proof of like you haven't even gauged the audience, the market yet. You have no idea if the market's even interested in this product.
Yeah.
So I've had to do that a lot with clients because they just want to, I think people get satisfied when they put money towards a goal because they think they've done something, and it's not always the right thing.
maybe,
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not impossible to relate with people that don't have any background in that.
I would say most people I work with don't have background tech background knowledge. But I think that's also because I think my niche right now is talking to I enjoy it, non-tech people who are like, I think I would say most of my colleagues who I know who are good in tech, much better than me at tech, can't talk to people to save their effing lives, and they hate talking to people. And they just like...
Yeah.
Because that was my experience before, like when talking to, people in this kind of things,
they shut up and they clam down, or they over. I find a lot of people.
They were very technical if they wanted to, like if they tried to explain something, and I was like.
And people won't follow because they use words like you've interrupted me for every word that was for good, like scaffolding out and stuff like that. Because that stuff is like, who's gonna know what that means? And it's very true. And like I that kind of information, I think a lot of times tech is really hard because it's so big and there's so much to know, and you'll never be good at everything. And a lot of people get kind of in this one area and they're comfortable in it. And then when you have something that's non-tech, ask you questions, and you kind of have to think about it. If you're not used to being asked questions, I think people, they want to feel like there's an ego. A lot of tech people have egos because you build things and you kind of get this, this sort of God complex. And then they get challenged. They, instead of like asking questions or reassessing or whatever, they will throw in a shit ton of jargon to just impress you with their knowledge and have you leave them alone. And that happens a lot. And so I always feel like there's a lot of tech bros I know who just don't communicate the tech concepts well. And they're not willing to say, I don't know, because it's super okay to say, I don't know. It's just like, it's such a big field. It's so big.
I mean, in what I do, I'd rather have someone saying, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Great. So I know where we start. Like I don't want to, like you pretend that you know everything and then you go home and you have no idea what you're doing. Like
I think, and I absolutely relate to what you were saying. Like that absolutely happens a lot. But you do also get well-intentioned people that don't remember what they didn't know.
True.
Like if you've just been doing this for a long time, like if you were trying to explain some music to me, it'd be really easy for you to just point to the thing and be like, I don't even know the words. That's the A minor, Anne. And I'd be like, sure, that one, sure. Like, you just don't remember not knowing that. Especially if there's words that you use all of the time. You're like, oh, God, that word, that actually, like, especially like scaffolding, you're like, oh, that has a different meaning for everybody else. Like,
That's so true. And like IDE, that's why whenever there's something I don't know, I always like to look it up immediately. Because it's like, integrated development environment. Because it's like things like that it's super okay to not know, but you never know what you don't know unless you look it up. And I always like to question, so I always have these coding books and textbooks and stuff, because it's always good to know how dumb you are. Always. Because the second you think that you're really good at what you do, like I think the thing that I enjoy it a lot, so I really enjoy this makes me happy. But the second you start thinking that you're really good at it, it's like
no,
you shut down. You lose the opportunity to learn. Anyways, I think there's no way I've met 3 people in my life who were like, just amazing software engineers. And I mean, amazing what they could do. It was insane. And you could just tell, like, there was an aura around them. And they were so confident and comfortable in their skin and easy to talk to. And you were just like, but once you meet a few people like that, you realize that,
and I also feel like I always went by the idea that if you cannot explain what you're doing
simply
to a 5-year-old kid, then you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm like. If I can explain like very complex music stuff to a kid 5 years old and make them understand, then it's fine. Then I know what I'm doing.
You know you should.
Yeah. And
For real.
yeah.
And I used to get defensive when I didn't know my tech stuff really well, and then I was like, oh, that's because I don't know my stuff very well.
I think maybe we all get defensive earlier because we also have to kind of like prove that we're not dumb women in their field.
I definitely found when I left the bank, started doing my own thing, I was like, oh, this will be easy. I've built like enterprise system trading applications. I can definitely do this. But when you work in a bank, you're kind of like a cog in a machine, a very small cog in a machine, and you don't have wide domain knowledge. And so when I started doing work for people and I started working on software, I got really defensive on a lot of stuff. And I was like, oh, it's because I have very specific knowledge in this one specific silo and no general knowledge. And then that's when I realized I had to order textbooks and learn as if I was, didn't.
Yeah.
In the bank, they probably very rarely said, Kerry, do us a website and make it really sleek like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
No, I thought I would really concentrate on this back end bit that you
Right.
can't see and you don't care about. Would you like to pay me lots of money to do that?
Oh,
No, you really want the website? Okay. well,
I do miss
You
the
really want the
paycheck.
Spider-Man?
The paycheck was great. I had this one time where there was two teams and they both thought I was working for the other team. And
Oh my gosh.
What?
neither one, I did ask them, like, oh, do you have any work for me? And they're like, no, just work on Catherine's stuff. And I was like, okay, Catherine, do you have any work for me? She's like, no, we're good, just work on Armin's stuff. And I was like, it was during COVID, so we weren't going in the office, so I was just like, started whipping out my video game and just playing.
Wow. Were you getting paid for
Yeah,
doing
for nothing.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was awesome. It was
Yeah.
banking money. And I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not the case. Now every penny I have to scrape for it, but that's okay. It's more fun. I have more joy in my life now, so it's worth it.
Yeah, it is. It is worth it.
Yeah,
It is.
so much more worth. Like life is just you're just happier. But yeah. So any other questions that I can answer?
So well, of course, like if you look at me, I have tons. We're gonna stay here until tomorrow, so please stop me. at some
Good,
point.
it's raining, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I literally just looked outside and I'm like,
Yeah.
It's I'm scared.
A bit. I'm
Yeah.
also a bit scared, but it's,
what? The rain.
I'm scared it's gonna last a long time.
If
yeah.
it does, I have extra umbrellas. We'll take the hooded boat
Mhm.
and then we'll yeah, it'll be hooded.
And I will put the Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack.
Yes.
And the typhoon shelter, right now we're getting a bit of wind, so you can feel the boat move a little bit.
How
It's
do you do
partly
with
because of the
typhoons?
Canvas. So I had a little Instagram video that I put out of the typhoon, the most recent one, and it was quite funny because James is a very private person, and everywhere he goes now, and he's like, oh, I saw blah 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 in the typhoon. Oh, I saw your boat here. Oh, Carrie posted blah blah blah. And he's like, but basically, because when you live on a boat, it's almost like the boat becomes an extension of you in so many ways, and every sound, you get attuned to the sounds, you get attuned to the movements and everything. And when the typhoon comes in, it's like your body can sense that there's, maybe it's the pressure drop, maybe it's the sound is different. So you're kind of on edge, and but not like nervous on edge, but your body's aware, you're ready for something. And so the typhoon came, and there was a lot of wind, and then it was dead for a long period of time. And then the wind started really picking up. So we didn't sleep at all that night, and the wind was so strong that it was like, it makes that noise in here. And then at 4 a.m. it was like gusting, the doors were slamming open and everything. And I got some nice footage of it because it was like picking up the wind from down there. So there's mist coming up, and,
Wow.
and the animals were running around and everything. But it's usually, I mean, it wasn't that bad because the typhoon shelter is pretty good. We've had some bad storms where like the ropes that keep us attached ripped off. That's when we're on the yellow boat. I ripped off of another boat, and James had to run out into the storm because we were attached to a barge, so you could like walk. So you had to run out into the storm, and they had to grab pieces and hold the boats in and fix things. And we had the solar panels ripped off and glass everywhere. And that was what's scary about that is the boat is not likely to capsize, but if they're out in the storm and something gets picked up and slammed into them, that's the danger.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me nervous when the storm picks up. But yeah, anytime the boat's a little bit off, you're ready. Because you know if something happens, you have to start bailing water out. I have another YouTube video where we had to start bailing water out because the boat tried to sink itself. So
What?
we have automatic bilges downstairs now. So we have
okay.
automatic pumps right now that will automatically pump and alert us if the water fills up. But we got those
Because you guys the boat
Sank
nearly
like
drowned.
5
Needed
times.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
So anyways, there's a lot of stuff like that. And we had another rainstorm. We had we were installing the roof, so we got this boat and had needed a lot of work, a lot of holes, and water was coming through
But the
everywhere.
boat is yours or you're renting it?
He bought it, so it's quite
okay.
nice.
So
Yeah.
it's yours.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Which is why I want the will.
Yeah, fair.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
It's a nice boat. 'Cause, yeah, I fell in love with it. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then once he finished his cancer treatments, he surprised me with like the keys to the boat.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was like, and then I had to go to America for 6 months to help take care of my baby nephews. So I was there every day with the nephews, and while I was gone, he had a team of contract workers just fixing the boat, fixing. So when I came back, it was like, I needed more work because it needed a woman's touch, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Women's touch make a house somehow.
it does.
Yeah.
Because it was a bachelor pad before. Kind of.
A bachelor boat.
Bachelor boat, yeah. And what a lovely boat. If you were single, this was like this is a nice boat to take people to. A real bachelor.
Well,
But yeah. Any other questions?
No, I'd love to know about the back end stuff.
The back end stuff.
Yeah.
Database or logic.
So I actually want to know how it goes from this into something marketable, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I usually use Next.js as my go-to programming language, and that's mostly because Next.js is used by a lot of AI. It's easy, like AI operates based off of information that it has consumed, and it's consumed a lot of Next.js, the programming language, and Next.js is also a React framework, which gives you the framework to do the back end to scaffold out properly. So if you go, I want React and Next.js and TypeScript, it will build this. So this is the Next project, and Next is good because it has a lot of backend. It does the backend and server, and it deals with front end pretty nicely. So it's like a whole integrated system. And then you add in the database, and then you're basically golden. And I love Supabase, which integrates with Vercel, Next.js. I wish I had like a piece of paper. So you have Vercel, which is sort of like, think about it as Amazon.
Mhm.
And then Vercel has Next.js, has VW, which is another AI software that I really like. Then it has, it communicates with Supabase. So it's like this whole AWS, Amazon ecosystem-esque thing. But I like it because it's free and it's very good. And then I use Supabase, and what I love about Supabase is this is where all the data persists, and it does authentication. So it does kills two birds with one stone, and for security, it does row level security, which I love.
And
Love
it
it.
alerts you if you don't have row level
Yes,
security.
and it annoys the fuck out of you if you don't have it.
Found that out this week when I opened it for the first time, and I went,
well,
gonna be one of those people again.
Yeah.
wait, which one is that?
This is
Supabase.
Supabase.
Oh,
which is
Supabase.
So it's
like
for the
this.
database.
Yeah.
So it does security, authentication, and it's a database. And I love it, and they communicate. So these days, now you can hook in your Supabase with your cursor that uses Next.js and Vercel, and then they marry each other, and then AI can handle a lot of that connection.
Okay.
Which is really
okay,
nice.
that's great.
So, but you have to make sure you include.
Okay.
And the other issue though is that some of the terminology with Supabase, it's $20. You can get 2 free plans, so 2 free tables project, 2 free databases, and you can only put so much information. But if you're doing a new app, you probably won't reach the limits for a while, and then you can upgrade it once. So it's free
Yeah.
basically to upgrade.
And it's cheap
It's
as well.
cheap. It's $10 per database after the 2 free ones. $10 per, and then you get a lot of stuff within that $10. And then if it gets like a lot of load, you pay a little bit extra, whatever,
Okay.
per request. So let's say you have like 10,000 users, and then you want to add an extra 2,000. You pay for the extra 2,000 users on like pennies per user. Like it's very good system, and you can see where all the costs go. Very cheap, very good, and storage is AWS storage,
Okay.
which is awesome. So it's like a database that also does storage of images and information at cost of AWS. So it's like you don't even have to touch AWS, which I love. I'm a big fan. The less third-party things that you use for your application, the better. The less
Yeah.
dependency you have, the better.
So which one has the less dependency on the third party?
So I like Vercel, the whole Supabase environment. It does kind of expose you exclusively to Supabase.
So Vercel is Supabase.
I don't know. I know they're connected.
Okay.
Does Vercel on Supabase? I don't think so. No. But they do. They maintain a close partnership and official integration. So it's the official
Okay.
integration that I like.
So I'll ask this in like a business operation way, right? So let's say someone wants to make a business out of an app, and they are going to vibe code it.
Mm.
So they go to their picked AI LLM, and they vibe code it, and then let's say it's vibe coded onto Cursor.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And then what are the next steps? Like what are the next accounts that they have to get? They have to get Vercel.
So what I'm just trying to see. I use VW is also owned by Cursor, and there's one that I like in particular. But anyways, so basically, you could take something like this, and this is all. They have templates and everything that are all free, which is really cool. But if I wanted to go to, let's see, VW I haven't used it in a while because I haven't needed to. Basically, it's similar to Lovable, kind of, where you tell it what you want and it scaffolds out an app, like a pretty good app. It's ugly, but it works well.
Okay.
And then you can download it onto Cursor. So this is owned by Vercel. Then you download it onto Cursor. Then you make it look pretty on Cursor, and then you push it to GitHub, where it's free. And then on GitHub, you then go to Vercel as hosting. So GitHub holds the code. So it's kind of confusing. I'm gonna see if I have a piece of paper.
I have one. You want it?
Yes. Oh no,
small.
I want a big one.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure James found some big ones somewhere.
Can I charge my phone?
Oh yeah, me too. I need to.
Where do you put paper? Yeah. Here we go.
Can I charge?
Yes. Is it a USB-C?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can use the laptop charger. It'll be fast charger. Of course.
Where do you live? In Hong Kong.
Wan Chai.
Oh, okay. I like Wan Chai.
Yeah, we just moved. So I only moved to Hong Kong 2 months ago. New. So we've just moved to
How'd you
Wan
find
Chai.
out about we were Hong Kong then?
Yeah.
YouTube.
Me too.
So we knew that we were moving here, and we were watching some like travel vlogs and things like, because you're about to move your entire life, and I'd been here on holiday, but like not really had a good sense of it. So somebody who was a member had a YouTube video, as she mentioned, going to an event, and I knew that I wanted to try and find people.
Yeah. Of course.
And it was a really nice kind of like quite broad, like it covers quite a, whereas if I'd gone to like join all these different groups, there's less overlap and whatever.
Yeah.
So I just joined, and also because I had my own business when I arrived in Hong Kong 2 months ago, I
And
wanted,
you're in the startup. Yeah.
but it had like that advertising element to it and the solopreneurs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is a really good. This fits what I need
Yeah.
as a starting point. So I actually joined before I arrived.
Okay.
Sarah thought it was hilarious because I'd like joined the free thing. Somebody reached out, Larny, and was like, we've got a discount for the membership I was already going to do. And I was like, oh, I'm joining in like 2 weeks. And she's like, well, there's a discount now. So I was like, okay, sign me up. So I arrived and I went to the sales trading thing on my third day because I wanted,
Hosted by Sarah.
yeah,
She's really good.
because I wanted to put something in the diary for the first week that kind of, because Rob was going to go to work and I didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
So that happened to be on my third day. So then I arrived, and Sarah was like, "Sorry, you arrived in Hong Kong 3 days ago, and this is the thing." It's like, this is the first time I've left my house by myself. So yeah, that's kind of how I. And then
You've been a member for a long time, right?
Yes, but I was very quiet at first. It's not I don't know why. I mean, it just
We're all busy.
yeah, but also I didn't every time there was an event I couldn't make it for some reason, so it was always like kind of like that.
But I think out of all Hong Kong events, I love the business blitz the best. And I think
love
Harry
business
went
blitz,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
it got
That's where we met.
cancelled.
That's where we met. Yeah, we were at the same table.
Yeah. Long Chong Kong.
Well, aside from the arts and craft meetups. Yeah.
I haven't done
Oh,
any
I
of the arts
haven't
and
done-
I'm
crafts.
not in that.
That's fun. But I was karaoke therapy, so I love karaoke.
Oh, I saw that one. I can't sing. It
Oh.
goes back to one of the music thing. So I'm not in that group.
Only like 3 of us in the group sings well. And then
really?
we're like Aphrodite and I, we don't sing, but Aphrodite loves getting wine drunk. And then I love to sing Cher and Mariah Carey and all that stuff. And we just scream it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Okay, and then the next favorite meetup probably a woman in tech.
Yeah, the second event. Because we went to the
Yes.
Harsh's.
They have. I have 2 things about that actually. One, they have another event, about AI in enterprise later on in August if you want to sign up. Like talking about AI in big businesses. They're trying to sell a course. They're trying to sell a course and it's a 10-minute sales pitch at the end.
Like a
But-
timeshare.
It's just like, but the guy who spoke at the other one that we went to was really good. And I reached out to him on LinkedIn because I wanted him to have a conversation with Ali about the best way to store data with AI is not in a pile.
Yeah.
I just have a hunch, but I'm not an expert. And I just thought he'd be a really good person
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out. I think the startup is open to like bringing in some experts, but I want to make sure that we get the right. They brought one contractor in for a week to do a trial, and I
Didn't
was
work.
like, he's not the right guy.
Yeah.
He's not the right guy for just this awful, like, sounds really bad, because he was 24 and he's only ever worked in a world of AI.
Yeah.
So he just doesn't question things.
Yes.
And I was like, could we? And I was drawing out how I thought the data should be, because I come from like a Microsofty world,
Yeah.
so like medallions. You come across medallions? And you'd have like raw data, semi-structured and very business intelligence structured layers. And I was like, does it work like this in other, like this is how I'm picturing it? And he's like, yeah, we can do that. I'm like, I know we can do it. We can do anything I draw.
Yeah.
Right.
Should we
Is it
do
the best
that?
practice?
Yeah.
Right.
Because I feel like that just having it in a pile, which is what it is in Superbase at the moment, with unnamed, well, they're named, but like undescribed, no context tables, just filled.
Right.
And anyway, I thought Harsh was his name, yeah.
Yeah. Harsh.
So I'm
I
gonna
think
get him to have
She
a
was great.
try to figure out, and I'm obviously eyeing you up now for web apps.
What's
As,
that?
and now I'm eyeing you up for our web app.
The only problem I have with Teams is sometimes I'm a bit sassy if like sometimes when if someone's like, well, we can do this, we can do this, we can do that, and oh, we can totally do that, and I'll be like, sit your ass down, let's talk about this. 'Cause
Yeah.
so sometimes I can be a bit sassy.
I think SaaS is. I
think
in this
you
group,
need
this
it,
SaaS
though.
SaaS is needed. I think it's really important right now with everyone being able to build a thing,
Yeah.
and people not knowing what they don't know, and they're completely trusting of the like all the LLMs are just, not only are they just normally sycophantic at the best, but it's all being like your own context is feeding it, like
Yeah.
you are literally just building yourself this little world and sitting in the middle being like, well, I didn't, like, I told it to like second guess me, but it's
Right.
still only taking it's
Its
like
goal
Yeah.
is to please you. And
Yeah.
that's always like,
Yeah.
because I did the whole video, one of the videos in this course I'm doing that where basically I'm explaining this, but it's in the YouTube series, and I had a whole section about sycophancy, because if you're being told yes all the time, or if you go in being like, tell me why turmeric is the best thing for health,
Yeah.
and it will be like, oh, it's amazing for health for this, instead of being like, oh, maybe turmeric isn't the best thing to treat your cancer. It doesn't do that, because if you
No.
ask it a
Yeah.
certain way, it's going to respond a certain way, so it's
And-
sycophantic.
and if you
Sorry,
have
do you,
it
sorry,
Yes.
do you have a charger?
I do. USB-C. Yes. Let's see. I'll just charge it. Plug it in here.
and like I turned memory off on my Claude, and is that because I just really found like it was just I know that it's not going to be an independent expert advisor. What I don't
No.
need is my own
No,
past
that's because it's
thoughts
Oh,
fed back to me.
there we
Like
go.
you're just
I'll
in
put
this
this in here.
your own little.
If you can be
This
wrong,
bit is too fat.
you don't
okay,
want
okay,
it
yeah,
yeah,
it's
we're
working,
good.
it's working. To tell you, no, you're not. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is to put in an idea or a process or a paper or whatever and be like, red team this. It's really good at
Tell
that.
me why it's bad. Or
Like,
be
tell-
like, yeah.
Yeah, tell me why it's like red. Wear a black hat, which is like being super negative, or the red team is all about trying to find flaws.
With AI, you mean like you ask AI to?
It's a
Yeah, to
concept.
pay your
Yeah, it's a
devil's advocate.
concept and a framework outside of
Yeah,
AI.
yeah.
But if you ask AI to do that, it will do that because that to please you,
Yeah.
it will find the flaws.
Yeah.
And then that's
I always tell the AI like if, about this, blah blah blah. Find me all the possible way that it can go wrong, and
yeah.
it usually does.
Can be good.
But yeah,
I don't think it's good enough though.
no,
No.
because like or like sometimes I'm like, okay, you know, I have this, whatever it is, can be an idea, can be, I don't know. Think out of the box. Give me 10 different ways that I could do the same thing, but completely unrelated to. But so many times I can think of better ideas than what it does. Like, I can find ways to say, no, but what you say doesn't make any sense, or like it's gonna be, like it's easy to, you know, that it will fail whatever you say to do. What if I do this instead? So,
And it's like, great idea.
Mhm.
That's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks. I know, it's a great idea. This
It's
is
fine.
the Vercel hosting. So this is Vercel. And this is where you get this dedicated server to show your site kind of thing. So for example, and then this is the project. And what I really like about Vercel as well, because this is all free, is you can see all your deployments. So all the code changes that you did there. It gives you logs for visitors, people who are going there. So it allows you to take a look. Analytics. You have to turn them on, but you can. So anyways, it allows you access to all this. You can add
and
your
this is
own
only
domain.
the database.
No. So this is Vercel. So this is the hosting. This is where the code lives on a server somewhere for people to see.
So, as she was saying, like you have your code, like let's say you make it with Lovable, let's
Right.
say. You fix it with
Cursor. Or,
Cursor,
Yeah. So.
and then you import the code, like from Cursor, you ask, give me the code, and then you put it into there.
So you can. So that you can do it either through GitHub. So Cursor, Lovable is the code is online. Cursor allows you to bring it onto your computer and then make changes to it, but then you have to push it back up to somewhere. So I personally usually push it to GitHub, which is like the biggest online repository, the biggest online library of code, and you have your own. It's also free. So your repositories, these are all my coding projects. So for example, I have this, and then you can see all the code in here.
But is it open to public?
Is this
or is
public
it
or private?
Mine's you can choose public or private. You don't have to pay extra. I usually put all mine to private. So this is all private. You can see my code in here, and then from GitHub, I connect Vercel and GitHub, have them marry each other.
Okay.
You can go straight from Cursor to Vercel. I don't like to do it because you lose some control in that process, but it's not a problem. And then, so basically I go to add new project, and then I just import Git repository.
So
I
why
just
would you do the GitHub method? Why not?
I like GitHub because it allows you to see your code. So for example, when my laptop died, sad face,
Okay.
I pushed all my code up here, and GitHub, it allows you to like run tests on your code. It gives you granular, it gives you like specific stuff you can do with your code. Where if you connect it straight to Vercel doesn't have that same functionality. That's what I'm saying. I think for most people, you can just push straight to Vercel. For me, I don't like it because I have a copy online. Wherever I am in the world, I can access this code that's here.
Okay.
It's private. I've signed in. Or I have some stuff that's public.
Is this kind of like a drive for code?
Kind of, yeah, or like
Okay.
like iCloud or it's like OneDrive or something like that. It's basically like OneDrive. It's a cloud system that I put my code up to.
Okay.
Cursor allows you to bring it onto your local computer. Then I push it up to GitHub, and then on Vercel, I basically marry Vercel and GitHub so they talk to each other, and then I marry Vercel and Superbase, the database, and so they all talk to each other.
So if you have to edit anything in Cursor, you'd have to update it in GitHub.
So usually what I like to do, so this is what you do for a lot of programming, is, for example, let's say I want to do, I'm trying to think of a good example because this is a live site, so I don't want to make too many changes. Thanks. Let's make one of the homepage buttons green. And this is usually when it's something this simple, I'll just code it myself because it costs tokens. So this is, I'm just giving you guys an example.
Okay.
So with Cursor, what you can do is you treat it as software on your system. So I'll run, you just memorize these commands, npm run dev. And what it does is it allows you to see the changes only on your machine. So it's compiling the code, it's presenting it, and now it's on localhost. Anytime you see localhost, it means it's only on your machine. No one else can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So me as a software engineer, I can make changes. I can, oh look at that. It made
And there is one green.
It's green. Yeah. So it made it green. I can look at it. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But this only you can see
Only
this.
I can see it. And then if I like it, what I do is, and you can add something, so it's just a button, so you don't type it out. In my course, I just made a sheet that you can print out, so you just memorize it. But you do Git. So Git is GitHub's way of communicating. Git add everything, so add the file. You write a message saying, like I'm changing the button color, whatever. I don't care if it's misspelled. And then you do Git push, and it pushes it to GitHub. So you do it all. I just do it all from the command line.
Okay.
And then it updates. But it allows you to make changes. You can do some wild things. You can test everything, and it does it all on your machine. And then I push to GitHub. And then once I push to GitHub, Vercel, they're all talking
It's
to
all
each other. It's all, I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
But
So
that's
then
how I
once
do
it's
it.
on GitHub, and then now would it be public that the button is green?
Once it's on.
Once it's on GitHub and then it connects to Vercel.
Once it's connected to Vercel. If it's
Okay.
not connected